emasimini ejagula amathole eqibitheka wathi nomama yakhala ingoma zobuya ingoma emasimini ejagula amathole eqibitheka wathi nomama yakhala ingoma yakhala ingoma yakhala ingoma
And that song is a great way to start the day, isn't it? The South African State Theatre's annual Women's Month celebrations installment is back again for its third season. In commemoration of this month, the theatre is presenting virtual music concerts by award-winning songstress Mama Sibongile Khumalo, as well as the critically acclaimed songstress Zonke Dikana. The jazz doyen Sibongile Khumalo joins us now via Skype to tell us more about her live show, as well as the contribution she has had on the country's music industry. Mama Sibongile Khumalo, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you, Cynthia. I'm just shocked at the many pictures that you just showed now. I'm like,
Well, it may be old pictures, but the music never remains old, hey? Well, Mama Sibongile, let's start by briefly catching up with you, what you've been busy with and how you've been coping with this pandemic.
Did you say busy? I've been busy sleeping. It's been a very strange time. One has been preoccupied with having to take care of self more than anything else. We are told that at our age we have I call them combombos, and my kids laugh at me, but those comorbidities, and just because one is over 60, one has to be ultra careful. So it's been a very a good time in that sense, Yoguchi. I've had to slow down, take care of me, take care of my children and their children and the people around me, and just be very aware of what's happening in one's mind, being very mindful of your thoughts. That has preoccupied me really in these past. Well, the first 21 days, definitely it was that. The last 2 months or so has been difficult. Yeah,
I can imagine. And you've been in the game for decades now, Mama Sibongile. You've seen the industry change and evolve. So how would you describe the current state of the country's classical, opera, and even jazz genres?
Interestingly, I find perhaps also because of the digital space and the online sharing that has been happening. Yes, it has been like that, but I find that at the moment, young musicians are doing amazing things, being alone together kind of sense, and they create this music, they get together, they make music, they share their music, they even the thoughts that they share about what's happening have been quite special to see, quite special to observe, and that for me is very encouraging, because what it says is that it's not all lost. It can never be all lost. We will get through, over and past this phase. We have to. People talk of the new normal, but what's normal about some of what's happening? So we have to start thinking differently, doing things differently. And young musicians are showing the way, whether it's in the jazz genre, whether it's in opera. Yes, there's a lot of depression, there's a lot of despair, which is very worrying, because I heard of a suicide just recently of a young father who is an opera singer. May his soul rest in peace. But you hope that that's not going to be the normal. Right. You will get past that, and we will find a way of taking care of ourselves, of taking care of each other as a community. And I'm talking of the arts community now specifically.
Right. You know, Mama Sibongile, when we started this interview, when we played that track, you should have seen us whistling and clicking fingers and stomping our feet in appreciation of the beautiful sound that we were hearing. I mean, it certainly does not grow old. So having said that, how do you constantly and consistently keep your fire burning when you perform live and working the stage?
I pray. Seriously.
Yeah.
I pray. I communicate with a higher power. In this instance, call him Tito or her Tito, Unkulunkulu Smagade. But I also talk to my parents, who are both late, and my ancestors on the whole. And I say I find a way of. No, I don't find a way. I talk to them and ask them to carry me through whatever moment I have to get through artistically. And without that, I don't know that I would still be doing what I'm doing, because this business is terrible. It's terrible. It's hard. People are very demanding. But at the same time, it's very gratifying, right? It's very gratifying because then the immediacy of the audience makes it also special, because when you have an audience in front of me, and I think this is the challenge that we all are going to have to deal with. When you have an audience in front of you, you feed off of them. You know immediately if you're making sense or if you're not.
Yeah.
So but prayer is the primary thing.
You know, Ndungo, you've just touched on the issue of the immediacy of the audience, and I guess that your performance feeds off on that particular immediacy. And you're used to performing at packed venues around the world, but now we all have to adapt to performing virtually in an empty arena. Does this have any impact on your creative process?
For me, what happened was initially it did. You're like, oh man, how is this going to work? However, like you're on television, or anybody who's on radio, you know that there are people over there that are listening to you. You have a responsibility, I believe, to those people that will take the time and make the effort and pay their hard-earned money, especially at this time, to come and to make time to listen to you. So you imagine, and I suppose being on radio once helped me to understand this principle. Somebody said to me, there's one person who's listening to you that you must see. And you see that person, you communicate with that person, you look at that person's eyes, you imagine, you picture them, and that gives you energy, that gives you drive, that has given me the ability to say, when Sisis Banbanyani, when I put my sweet dilapo, I'm singing for you. This is for you. Please accept my offering.
And I guess that thought and that imagination gives you the push to go all out and give your best performance in whatever you're doing. And you have a virtual concert that will wrap up Women's Month celebrations later. Give us more details about that.
We have a the concert itself, the virtual concert, is a full concert with a band and two beautiful young men, guests, Tsepo Tsotedze and Tsepo Mngoma. Tsepo Mngoma on the violin, Tsepo Tsotedze on saxophones. I have my regular trio, Uwandile Mlefe on the piano, Sabu Sacha, back with Sabu Sacha on the drums, and also Uspusiso Sibanyoni on bass. And the idea was to do a concert for Women's Month, but I'm also very aware of the fact that our children are in trouble at this time, right? There are issues with schools and whether schools go on or they don't go on, and all of that, and the dangers and the new, and I suppose for them the new normal will be a normal, because perhaps they don't know much else, but they have been exposed to something before, right? So my thinking was, okay, dedicate something to the children. So we have a set of songs, a number of songs, which we have put together just for the children. And it was just wonderful to be in a space where you imagine the children and be childlike. So it's not just the children physically as the child, a 6-year-old or a 10-year-old, but it's also the child inside of you, the child inside of us, who has at the moment to be imagining and thinking and hoping for a future and imagining a future and not allowing oneself to be despondent at this time. So essentially the concert is about giving hope, acknowledging, giving love, embracing, just giving love. When all is said and done, it's the love that we share, the love that we need to be giving to each other and embracing and expressing to each other.
Yeah, and I suppose then love is central in everything that we do and is the most important facet of, the creative space, as it were. And Mama Sibongile Khumalo, we really miss seeing you on stage. But then I guess we have to adapt to seeing you online. And all the best in that concert.
Thank you.
All right, good stuff. That was award-winning musician Mama Sibongile Khumalo there, speaking to us about her Women's Month celebrations live concert taking place virtually at the end of the month. Your sports news starts right now.